Today, we're diving into how artificial intelligence is basically supercharging the oldest con in the book, social engineering. We're not just talking about tricking people's minds anymore, we're talking about fooling their eyes and their ears and really exploiting our basic human trust in ways that, well, they just weren't possible until right now. Let's get into it. This quote from Security Week just nails it. For years, the focus has been on building bigger digital walls. Firewalls, encryption, all that stuff. But the new frontline in this war isn't code. It's us. It's the human mind. Attackers get it now. The weakest link isn't the software. It's our built-in instinct to trust one another. And look, this isn't science fiction anymore. The tech to clone your voice from just a 3-second audio clip, or to spin up a deepfake video of your boss, your mom, anyone, it's out there, it's cheap, and it's getting better every single day. This makes the threat incredibly personal, right? It's jumping out of the corporate world and landing right in our laps. So in this first part, we're going to dig into exactly why trust, that thing that holds our entire society together, has suddenly become the #1 target for cybercriminals. So what's the engine behind this whole new wave of attacks? Well, we are now looking at deception on an industrial scale. Let's break down how AI has put cybercrime on steroids, turning it from this manual, crafty thing into a super efficient, automated, and frankly, a terrifyingly scalable operation. We all got pretty good at spotting those old-school phishing emails, didn't we? The bad grammar, the weird spelling, the generic "Dear Customer." Well, AI just threw out the entire playbook. As you can see here, the new attacks are flawless. The grammar is perfect, the tone is spot on, and they are hyper-personalized using stuff scraped from our social media. They can even create fake voices and videos on the fly. All those old clues we used to look for, they're gone. And the real game changer at the heart of this is something called Agentic AI. Now, don't think of this as just a tool. Think of it more like an outsourced criminal. You can give it a goal, like breach this company, and it goes to work all by itself. It researches people online, figures out their psychological triggers, builds a custom attack, and runs the whole campaign. It's like having a team of expert con artists working 24/7 at the speed of a machine. And the speed, it's just staggering. A really sophisticated, targeted attack that used to take a human team weeks of planning and research, an AI can now whip that up in minutes. I mean, think about it. A custom deepfake video call researched, scripted, and launched, all in the time it takes to grab a cup of coffee. That's the world we're living in now. All right, so this isn't just theory. This stuff is happening right now, out in the wild. In this next section, we're going to pull apart 2 really big attacks to see exactly how these tools are being used to cause some devastating real-world damage. $25 million. That's how much was stolen in a single scam using deepfake technology. And it targeted just one employee at one company. This isn't just a number on a screen. It's a massive warning sign of the kind of damage that can be done just by tricking one person into believing what they saw and heard. So here's the play-by-play. A finance worker gets an invite to a video conference. On the screen, he sees his chief financial officer and other senior colleagues from the UK office. Here's the kicker, though. He was the only real person on that call. Every single other person was an AI-generated deepfake, perfectly mimicking his actual coworkers, their faces, their voices, everything. They gave him a direct order, he thought it was real, and he made the transfer. But here's the thing. It doesn't always have to be some super high-tech deepfake attack. Take a look at what the group Scattered Spider did to the MGM casinos. Their method was ridiculously simple. They found an employee's name on LinkedIn and then just called the IT help desk pretending to be that person. That one 10-minute phone call was all it took to get inside and bring a multi-billion-dollar company to its knees. It just goes to show you, sometimes all the AI needs to do is the homework for a very simple, old-school con. Okay, so hearing about these attacks, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, right? But we are not helpless here. The weakness in both of those heists, the high-tech one and the low-tech one, was human. And that means the solution is human too. So in this section, we're going to talk about our best line of defense, building a strong human firewall. Look, we can't just download an app and make this problem go away. The truth is, the race between AI that creates fakes and the software that tries to detect them, well, detection is probably always going to be a step behind. So our best, most reliable defense is actually strengthening our own habits and building a culture of healthy skepticism. And the absolute foundation of this defense is a really simple but critical shift in our thinking. Never trust, always verify. In this new world, being skeptical isn't being paranoid, it's just being smart. Every urgent, unexpected, or weird request, no matter how legit it seems, has to be double-checked through a different channel that you already trust. Now, a key piece of the puzzle here is multi-factor authentication. We'll run through this quick, but it's fundamental. The first factor, the one we all know, is something you know, your password or your PIN. It's the most common security layer, but let's be honest, it's also the easiest to break. That's why we add a second factor, which is something you have. This could be a physical security key you plug in, or more often, it's that little code from an authenticator app on your phone. This adds a physical barrier that's way, way harder for some hacker on the other side of the world to get their hands on. And of course, the strongest layer of all is something you are. This uses your own unique biology, your fingerprint, your face. By layering these different factors together, we make it exponentially harder for an attacker to pretend to be you online. But what about those real-time voice and video calls? Authentication apps can't really protect you there. For that, there's a brilliantly simple tactic, the safe word. Just agree on a secret, unique word with your family or your key coworkers. Then, if you get one of those frantic calls asking for money or info, you just pause and ask, what's the safe word? If they can't give it to you, you know it's a fake. It's a fantastic, low-tech answer to a very high-tech problem. So where does all this leave us? How are we supposed to navigate this new age of distrust? When the things we see and hear can be turned against us, how do we actually stay safe? You know, at the end of the day, our best defense isn't going to be a piece of technology. It has to be cultural. Because generative AI is evolving so fast, the detection tools are always going to be playing catch-up. So our most effective strategy is to build a culture of verification, to make it a reflex to just pause, question, and confirm before we ever act on something that feels urgent. So I'll just leave you with this one thought. In an age of perfect digital copies, a simple question like, do you really know who I am? Well, it suddenly carries a whole lot more weight. Because as we've just seen, the answer isn't nearly as simple as it used to be. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.